Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your girl, Callie Foma, aka the Pretty Afro Nerd, and we're here in AG Collectibles in Upland, California. And who do we have today? The founder of, or let me say, one of the founders of Kolanut Productions, Mr. Onyi Udeh. How are you doing today?
Good, I'm good, I'm good.
Good. So, I mean, people are out here asking questions, so we figured we might as well do an FAQ with obviously one of the founders of Kolanut Productions. So let's get right into it and let's ask the first question first. Okay, Kolanut Production, how did we get started? How did this name come up? Like how did this, I mean, because I knew y'all when we were dancing back in the day, so I mean, like, so where did this all come from?
So back in 2011, back when I was working for Apple, got a lot of experience identifying openings and markets and stuff like that, and just the whole atmosphere of technology and finding the next big thing. I turned my eyes over to entertainment, and I was like, whoa, like, I see them talking about European folklore and all that stuff. That's been done like 700 times.
Right, we see that all the time, right?
When it comes to Asian mysticism or folklore, they took control of their stories, so they were telling it and they were licensing it back to the U.S. And then we started kind of a sprinkle of Hispanic and Latino culture, but nothing about Africa. So I was like, I think there's an opportunity here. So called my brother, who's my co-founder, and from there started the company. So yeah. And
so I have a question though. Where your background though? How did this even? How do you guys get into anime? How do you guys get into animation? Is this?
Man, growing up, we were Toonami kids. So shout out to Cartoon Network and that whole. Yeah, they put us on to like give us our early exposure to animation and anime, and from there we just decided that okay, this is our medium that we enjoy, this is what we love. So when we decided to start telling stories, we said we had to do it in a way that incorporated the medium that we love, as well as kind of gave love and shine to where we come from, which is the continent, right?
Right. And so also too, what I love about you guys and what makes you guys different is that it seems that you guys actually know what you're talking about. You study the material, because right now that's really missing, true rich African culture. I mean, I could talk about Black Panther, great movie, but I wish maybe they could have taken advantage of maybe using a real African country.
Yeah.
Things of that sort. So I love that you guys are actually using real Nigeria, Lagos, Kenya, all that stuff. So I mean, can you elaborate more on that and how you feel like it's important that we should be doing that?
We actually didn't start writing right away. It was kind of the rule of the studio that until we read and consumed all of the African classics when it came to folklore, mysticism, or sci-fi, or whatever the case may be, we wouldn't start writing. So Ben Okri, Nnedi Okorafor, Amos Totola, Chinua Achebe, like we read through all of these African amazing writers, right? The godfathers and godmothers of the genre. Before we started writing. So from there we were able to understand, okay, we don't really need to make things up. The continent is full of amazing real stories, real folklore, real mysticism, so it's like I don't have to fake it. Everything can be rooted within the culture. So yeah.
Right. So then how was it that Red Origins came about in the midst of, okay, we got Kolanut Production, what was that, how'd that come out?
So Red Origins came about when we opened this Google Doc and we just started hammering away, putting down references, writing characters out, and just really trying to flesh out a really cool story that incorporated Africa in the future, African futurism, and then also most importantly, like African folklore and mysticism, something that a lot of people don't know about, but is very much a part of the culture. Like we grew up on those stories. Those were our bedtime stories growing up. Yeah.
Right. And also, it's kind of dope how you guys intertwine that with music, though. I mean, you guys keep it fresh. Mixed with the Africanness, but then like I'm gonna go into like PC for example.
Yeah.
I mean, we can kind of talk into that.
PC
The little
electronic.
soundtrack that you guys have, I was listening to. It's like a futuristic, but then you still have that African touch.
Yeah.
And I love that. So talk about the music and how that's intertwined with everything.
So
you do.
everything we do in house in the studio. So from the music to lettering, coloring, all of it's in house. So with the music, we connected with a longtime friend of mine, Toshi. He's a producer, and we said we want to create kind of a new genre of sound for this animation and these comics, right? We want to bring in traditional African instruments and then kind of splice it with, you know, kind of nuanced sounds from like your Kanye's, your Dr. Dre's, your Pharrell, right? So it's kind of like an Afro hip hop kind of, you know.
Yeah, but it's real dope. It's real dope. So let's dive a little bit in deeper because people are asking about your animations and what we got coming up next and everything. So can you guys go ahead, take the stage on that. We want to know.
So first and foremost, people don't know how expensive animation is.
Let us know.
It's really fucking expensive. You figure 1 minute of animation outside of the United States can cost about $7,000, and then $7,000
Okay.
for about 1 minute of quality animation, and then if you're doing it inside the states, which we are inside the states, it costs like $14,000
For 1 minute.
1 minute.
Oh, okay.
So I could break it down like frames per second and all that stuff, but yeah, it costs a lot of money, especially if you want high quality, right?
Right.
You can get cheap quality, or you can get like, you know, really good stuff, and it's because we are going to be the first to really tell it the right way. We don't want to skip on quality, so we said we'd rather wait and go a different route than to rush it and not do the story justice. So with Red Origins, right now we're in the process of pitching to certain studios. We're getting some traction. We have our secret elite, you know, society. Shout out to Nettie Okada, she's a writing consultant. So, you know, we're exploring different avenues and talking to different people. And we're getting really close.
Right there?
I can't say exactly where we're at in the process.
Frame, like in the near, like how soon we're waiting?
Hey, I'm waiting too. But while we wait, we just keep telling dope stories. So that's kind of how we got into Kisi.
I was just going to ask that. So to kind of speak, what made you guys choose Kisi?
Okay.
You don't see a lot of African girls as the protagonists and everything. So in technology too. Explain where the idea came from.
Well, man, on the continent, if you know, women like they kick butt when it comes to like STEM, like science, you know, engineering, like math. They're really good at and technology. They're really good in that space. So again, we root it in the culture, right? So one thing is one of the biggest e-waste sites in the world is Ababaloshi, which is in Accra, Ghana, and if you look up pictures or read stories, you see that kids go to this dangerous e-waste site, they grab computer chips and stuff like that, and they build stuff, and it's fully functioning and it works. No schooling, no nothing, they just figure it out. So we're like, there's a story there. So
Right.
it kind of wrote itself. Yeah.
What's the main objective? I have a question. What's the main objective with Kolanut Production? What are you guys trying to do?
Yeah, so the whole point of the studio is to really change out the Western lens for an African. We want to tell stories from the African perspective and really show you how we'd address certain situations, how we deal with things like pain, struggle, love, perseverance, all these different things. We want to really show how the other side deals with it and comes to grips with certain things. So we can find the commonalities, or we can actually learn different perspectives. So
Right.
it's kind of.
So what do we have next? I mean, right now Kisi's coming out. Let us know, the audience know she's dropping.
Kisi the Electron Girl will be. So if you're on our Patreon, which you should be, if you're not, follow us. You already got the early readers edition. You got the advanced readers copy, so you already saw the first comic. But if you're new to the studio, early April, a fully fleshed out comic with colors and all that will be out. And then we have something special that I can't say.
Oh,
that'll
we
be
can't
coming
any
out.
more goodies? That's it?
We can't, got a hold of that. We got something else coming for Kisi, so that's what's going on with Kisi.
Okay.
And then we also have another animation.
Do tell. Could we get a little bit of?
Yeah. So we have this story called Neptune's Blues. It's a musical space odyssey that's a tragedy. So I'm gonna let all that sink in at once.
Whoa.
That's a lot.
Okay.
Yes, it's a lot there.
Okay.
But it's really dope, and it's an animation project that we're dropping. It's probably gonna be our longest animation that we dropped to date.
When can we expect any little snippets or any?
So it's gonna be in some film festivals.
Oh.
We're sending it that way first before we release it open. But our Patreon, if you're on our Patreon, you'll get to see it exactly when it comes out. So you won't have to wait. So you may get it like months in advance for everybody else.
All right. Well, I'm excited. Everything that you guys do is just exciting. It's different. It's what we need in this day and age. Like I said, it's
stories.
an African culture, some real. But then you can also learn. You know, it's for all ages, I think, as well too. But you guys are really teaching us and everything. So, Onyi, thank you so much for taking your time to answer some of our questions that our fans have. And if you guys do have some more questions, feel free to leave a comment below, or you guys can check us out on our Facebook, Kolanut Pod. And thanks for tuning in today. We'll see y'all next time.
Some comics. AG Collectible has some dope comics.
They do. I'm about to actually head out and kind of find some.
Nightwing 1 and Prodigy 1. I'm gonna look for some other stuff too.
Yeah. So make sure to check out AG Collectibles as well.
Yeah.
All right, you guys have a good night. We'll see you next time.
Peace.